Hey, actually didn't do too bad. How long can we keep this going? Okay, we are back for another unboxing slash review, and this time on the bench we have the SMRC high-speed rider, which is a 1/16 scale four-wheel drive brushless monster truck, and it's a truck with a truck body that we've never seen before. I can't seem to have ever recalled seeing this body on any other truck ever before, which I think is quite unique. It's, you know, whoever designed this body for this truck deserves you know, all the accolades that they have going for them. But you know, I'm really curious to see what this thing's got to offer. This retails on Banggood's website for about 150, 160 bucks. I think they're having a sale right now, so it's really cheap to get. And it costs bugger. I think it's like $1.50 for shipping or something ridiculous like that. You can also throw it on Afterpay if you want. It's a really cool deal. But is it worth the $150? That's what we're here to find out. So let's get rid of that box and let's have a look at what you actually get with this tiny little guy, because it has a couple of cool things, but I think they stop short of delivering a really exceptional package here. So as you can see, radio, truck fully assembled and ready to go, although you do need to peel. I think it's got like a little protective film on it. You got to peel that off and then decorate it with the stickers. They give you all of that in here as well. The spoiler I think came in the bag, as well as the screws to attach the spoiler, so I've already done that so you can see the finished product. And they also give you a little screwdriver for you to use and put those screws on. Also get a 2S or little charger for the, I think it's a 2S LiPo that's in here. Could be lithium ion, but they give you a charger for that anyway. They do give you a bag with some bits and bobs. So you have some spare steering knuckles and hub carriers for the rear, cross wrench in there as well. And I think there's a spare screw of some description, something is there. But anyway, so that you get a few spares on that one. And then of course you get your stickers. So you have, you've got like a pink sticker sheet, you got an orange sticker sheet, and you can just decorate the truck however you like. And then over here we have where the stickers are supposed to go, so they tell you where all that goes, which is really good. Not a lot of manufacturers do that. And then you have this, I think it's a manual, but it's really very basic, so not a lot going on here, but it does give you all the necessary information. It tells you what you get, tells you how to charge the battery, how to operate the radio, you know, where you should run it, what the dials do. And they also give you a list of some spare parts and things like that in there for you to order some spares if you need to. And that's it. There's no exploded views, unfortunately. There's no like other languages that I can see. It's all written in English, and that's the manual. It's not terrible. They include one. It's just they could have done a little bit better there. All right, so the radio. I gotta say, this is by far one of the cheapest, lightest radios I think I've ever seen on a ready to run in quite some time. This feels nasty. It really does feel very cheap. I'm not impressed with the radio at all. It does run on 3 AA's, which I guess that's a bonus. You'll end up with a spare AA battery for your mouse or something like that. But the trigger just feels real nasty. The wheel, it's not too bad. I mean, it's a foam wheel, I guess, you know, got that going for it. It's got some caliper detail and that on the back. The dials actually don't feel too bad, so hopefully they work okay. The on and off button is just a push button just here, and then you've got some LEDs on the back. I mean, it feels really cheap. I'm really concerned. As long as there's no like weird delays, it doesn't glitch out on me or anything like that, I guess it's fine. But you know, it's a cool looking radio. It feels really like it's worth $5. Okay, so for the truck, I haven't put the stickers on yet because I haven't quite decided which color I'm going to go with. And I kind of want to do this video real quick before I start decorating the truck. I'll do that in my own time a little bit later on because I want to get out there and run it as quickly as possible. So the truck, without, you know, sugarcoating it, this looks like a carbon copy of the Armour Outcast. It's just been shrunk down, right? So that's all this is. They've got a nice little wheelie bar on the back here, which looks kind of cool. The shocks, aluminium shocks, they do not have any threaded bodies on them, and there's no preload clips or anything on there. Where I think they really started to fall over is, you know, the tires, the rubber compound feels really hard, like it's super hard rubber compound, and there's no foams in these either. So it may not be a terrible thing. I've had tires in the past with no foams in them and they're gripped okay, but I don't know how this is going to go in a brushless vehicle. I don't have a lot of faith here for these tires to actually be suitable at all for this particular car. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but we'll run it as is and we'll see how it goes. The other thing where I think they fell over here is there's no oil in the shocks, man. Like, why go through all this effort doing a brushless vehicle and there's no oil in the shocks? This is bad because if it was brushed and this was a slower style of vehicle, like what I've done, you know, with the Black Zon Smiter and those sorts of vehicles where you're only doing 20-30 k's an hour, it's not going to be a big deal, right? But when you've got a brushless vehicle, you need oil-filled shocks, because as this thing is bouncing around, what happens is there's so much rebound that the tires are constantly lifting off the ground. Couple that with the fact that you've got a really hard rubber compound, there's no foams in these. The grip on this car is basically going to be non-existent. This is going to be on ice skates the whole time. At least that's my prediction. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, but based on, you know, the experience that I've had in the past, this is what I'm sort of expecting. I do not have high hopes for this vehicle as far as grip. And I'm actually quite disappointed because when I saw this on their website, you know, Banggood reached out and said, you know, we will send you some stuff. I saw this, I thought, you know what? I know what this is trying to be. I'm fully aware, but I just want to see what it's like, right? I mean, I've been reviewing a number of small cars on the channel recently, and it's good to have, you know, in a perfect world, you want to review all the good ones, but every now and again, you are going to get something like this. And, you know, this is $150, $160 plus tax delivered here to Australia. It's not super cheap, but it's not expensive either. And if with a couple of mods, you can get this thing going well and it performs well and it's durable, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's an alternative option to what's out there, but we'll see. I can also tell that there's a bit of Lexan here that maybe hasn't been cut properly, or is that purpose? Is that on purpose? And it looks like it's a bit smoother back on this side, but here it's a little bit sharper. I might just trim that out a little bit, smooth it out. Now you'll notice as well that there's no body pins on this guy, and that's because this is just attached to the chassis with some Velcro strips. I don't know how this goes. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It looks like, yeah, see there's some guides here. So they have some guide posts which go into these little brackets here, which is kind of cool because that means you know you're not going to put the body on crooked or whatever. You know, the posts kind of help put the body on the right position. It's not going to be too far forward, too far back and all that sort of thing. So I think that's a cool trick. I don't mind that. But yeah, you just have to peel off the plastic film that's on here and then go nuts with the stickers. So underneath, this is what we're going to be greeted with. You know, that's what it looks like. I mean, it looks like the chassis and everything, it's all one piece and it's not terrible. Like the design of this truck is not terrible. The arms look a little flimsy. I'm not sure about the arms, but we'll see how that plays out. Oh, okay, so that's what that extra bolt that they give you is this little guy here. So the extra screw that's in that bag is this little guy here. But I mean, look, they've got, you know, nice thick metal drive shafts here. They got CVTs on the front just there as well, which is a nice touch. And you do get some spare knuckles in case you do bust these up. You get LED lights on the front. So there's actually LEDs behind the front bumper here. And you can see there's a wire, this little wire that goes through to the ESC. This is where it gets a little bit annoying for me, is that they have an ESC that's an all-in-one. So it provides, it's a receiver and a speed controller, which means that, you know, as much as you might hate that remote, if you want to swap it over, you have to get another ESC, and you have to obviously get another receiver and radio and all that sort of thing. And there's nowhere to mount any of that. So you got very limited space. Maybe if you have a small enough receiver, you might be able to do something here, but otherwise it's going to be sitting on top of something, right? You're going to have to find a way and maybe put up the front here and, you know, reinvent the wheel a little bit just to allow for that. But, you know, it's a small car. You're limited in space. That's the cards you're dealt. That's what it is. It doesn't feel too bad. Like, overall, it doesn't feel too bad. It does have a steel drive shaft running all the way through the center. It also has a steel spur gear on the back, and by the sounds of it, it looks like the diffs may be metal as well. I'm not in, don't quote me on that, but at least it looks like the drivetrain has got some potential to handle some power and to handle the brushless power that they've put through this. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that actually holds up. I'm just concerned, like, these upper arms are super flimsy, man. Look at that. That's really flimsy. They got a bit of flex, so impacts may not be the worst thing. They'll just flex and bounce around a little bit. I will say, one thing it does have going for it, there's not a lot of play in the wheels. So, you know, there's not a lot of play here. I think the MJX car has more play in the wheels and the steering and everything than this thing does. Yeah, that's one thing I'm going to be looking at, is to seeing if I can actually put oil in these shocks, or if I've got some other alternative shocks that I can throw in here, because that's why. Look, yeah, you know what? You can forgive the tires, because at least you have tires, it's fine. But the shocks, man, like, you should have oil-filled shocks in here. For a brushless vehicle, it needs to have them. That's not excusable. The wheelie bar looks pretty good. I don't mind that. So, you know, it doesn't have ball bearings in it or anything like that, but I think the position for it there looks pretty good. Looks like it, you know, if it takes some hits, it got some support back here. Hopefully this, you know, spoiler holds on okay. We'll see how that plays out. It's got a bit of flex to it. It's got a bit of give, so it might be all right. It's a very light vehicle too, by the way. It doesn't weigh very much, even with the battery in there. Speaking of the battery, it is a 1500 milliamp, 7.4. It's a lithium ion, not LiPo, okay? So lithium ion battery. Very limited in space in here as well, so if you're planning on running bigger batteries, just be mindful. You can go thicker, but you can't go longer or wider. So just be mindful of that. And that's it. Runs T-style connectors. There's really not much else to talk about. Standard dog bones in the rear. The shocks do have these little covers on here, which I do like. I think that's good. The bumper looks like it can take a little bit of abuse, so that actually looks pretty flexible, looks pretty good. So I think the bumper will be all right. Shock towers look pretty thick, and of course there's no adjustments for shocks or anything like that, so you're not going to be touching any of that. But yeah, I think foam in the tires and shock oil in the shocks, and this could have been an absolute ripper of a car. But I could be speaking out of school here, because I haven't driven it yet. I don't know how it's going to perform. I don't know how fast it is. I don't know how fun it is. So let's take it out for a rip and let's see what this thing's got to offer. Okay, we're not off to a good start. It just stopped randomly. As suspected, these shocks are horrible. Oh my god. A lot of power in this thing, very quick. But the suspension is just putrid. Oh my god. Who said that this would be a good idea? Why does it keep cutting out? That's weird. That's done that twice now. I mean, not the worst, but let's hope really.
but I do wonder if those wheelies are just because it just bounces up. Actually, no. I mean, if you go from a dead still, it actually... Let's see. Or maybe not. He was doing it before. Let's see. Nah. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Oh. Alright, let's do some jumps with it. Alright. Whoa, this is going to be a challenge. But we will do our best. Let's... Oh god, this radio... Not great. It's hard to line up. I mean, the steering, like the servo, is not bad. I think there's just a bit of lag, or I don't know. Let's see. Hey, actually didn't do too bad. I was expecting much worse. Grip is a major problem here. I think that's the issue. It's very hard to compound rubber on those tires, and then you know you couple that with a really bouncy suspension, and there's this grip is a bit of a myth. But it has the power to clear these jumps quite easily. It actually doesn't land too bad. Come on, come on. It's just so hard to line up. Like, you don't understand how much I'm struggling here. Like, I want to hit it at full pelt, but I can't. Oh, that was actually... And I had a little bit of air control too. See, it's quick, it's a fun, it's got a lot of power. It just drives really, really bad. It's not a good driving experience at all. And this radio just feels like something you'd buy in a $2 shop. It really does the truck no favors. I think power-wise, this is actually pretty good. For a car this big, I think it delivers on power. I think, yeah, handling is just awful. And the radio is a major letdown. There are some good things which we'll talk about when I get back to the bench, but... Oop. Now it does have... Hang on, the radio does have throttle dual rate. So let me turn the throttle dual rate all the way down. Okay, so that's full speed with the dual rate all the way down. So that's as fast as it'll go. So, you know, for a young kid who wants to maybe drive the same truck as his dad or something, and, you know, you don't want to be spending armor money on a truck that looks like yours, this could be a good alternative for a young kid, but you're going to need to do some changes to make it somewhat more drivable beyond this speed. That's the only thing. Alright, let's turn it back up to full again. Oh my god. Like, it has good power. I'm not even touching the... Look, that's just pin. I'm not even touching the steering. How long can we keep this going? I'm not touching the steering. That's hilarious. Look, I'm even doing it with the other hand. Alright, that's enough. Now the tyres are worn out. Not really, but they'll be warm. That was crazy. It just wouldn't stop. Oh, I thought something broke then. It just landed on a coffee cup. I mean, for a laugh, you know, if you want to spend 150 bucks for a laugh, maybe make something out of it, sure. This is a fun little project. It's got good power. I mean, it's worth the electric, maybe. I'll have to change the radio out and do something in regards to that, and maybe I could do that. Maybe I could do like a little project for this thing and just put one of my other RTR radios hooked up to it. Doesn't have to be a Spectrum or Futaba or anything fancy. Just get a cheap RTR radio from one of the other brands. See if I can do something about the shocks. Try and find some tyres that will work, and we may have ourselves a half decent little car. Because power wise, I mean, this has promise. This has potential. Just needs a little bit of a tune. Alright, that's enough of this one. Or is it? That's just fun doing that.
Rightio, so here we are with the little SMRC high-speed rider, this little mini Outcast looking thing, which actually looks really, really cool. And that's one of the things that drew me to it. When Banggood reached out and asked me to do a review on a car, I actually picked this out. And I gotta be honest, I was really excited about it because it's a little mini Outcast. It looks really cool. And I was, very disappointed, as you could imagine, when I drove it. And as you would have seen in the video, I was getting a little bit frustrated with the handling of this car. I had some radio glitches as well. All up, can I recommend something like this? I think for the price that it is, it's not the price that's the issue really. I mean, $150 to $200 is not a lot of money for a little mini brushless monster truck like this, at least here in the country. But there are far better options that give you a much more complete package and that are probably a little bit better supported as well, not just through various online stores, but also locally at your local hobby shop. So if you've been following this channel for a little while now, you probably would have seen me review some of these little mini monster trucks, one of which was the Basgar monster truck, which is a Hyper Go, just under a different name. And Banggood actually sell those trucks as well. They sell the Hyper Go trucks, which are the same scale as this. They cost about the same, and that's a far better package. It has better suspension, a better radio. They're just as quick, if not quicker than this. So, it's not really the money that this is worth. It's just the package and how it comes out of the box that I think lets it down. Having a radio that feels really, really cheap in the hand, and I had a couple of throttle glitches with it as well. That's one issue, but you can kind of overlook it because it's a fairly cheap truck. But I think where my frustration really, I drew a line in the sand, was in the handling and not having oil-filled shocks on a brushless vehicle, not having foam in the tires, and having a very hard compound rubber which just limited its grip. Just made it for a very frustrating driving experience. And these shocks as well, these aren't actually aluminium shocks. I actually pulled one of these apart, and as it turns out, it's a plastic shock with an aluminium sleeve over the top to make it look a little bit fancy. So it's a really cheap and nasty way of doing a shock. I can't fill them with oil. If I want to change the suspension on this, I got to get new shocks, and obviously I'm going to have to tune that. So thankfully I've got a few different trucks here, so I'll be able to sort of experiment. I'll try some of the MGX shocks, maybe some Lalo or something else that I can find, see what works, and in whichever one's cheaper, I'm probably going to go down that route, and I'll see if I can redeem this truck somehow, maybe find some alternative tires as well, and see if I can actually make it handle well, because it does have good speed. It's got a good brushless system. It looks really cool having the Outcast body on it, and it's a cool looking truck. But unfortunately, when it comes to driving it, it's a little bit frustrating, and it's kind of hard to recommend something like this when you have to put a bit of work into it. And like I said, it's not the money, it's just that it doesn't deliver compared to other products around the same price point. So it's not like it's overpriced or anything like that. It's just, it should come out of the box a little bit better. Now, I'll have links in the video description as well for you guys to check this one out if you want to have a look at it. There's also another brand that I found on Banggood's website that sells the exact same truck, but in a couple of different colors. There's a red and blue body, and there's a white body. They have different decals and stickers on there as well. So I might link that in the video description as well. And you guys can go and have a look at them. And you know, if you really want one because it has the outcast body and you feel like you can maybe find some, you may have some cheap shocks lying around that you can maybe replace it with, then you know, this could be a nice little project truck to keep you busy over the holidays. But for now, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you all very much for watching. If you're up here and watching it till the end, be sure to hit that like button before you go. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll be speaking to you all next time.